Welcome and good evening and welcome back to Talking Philly Sports with Matty B here on the Edge of Philly Sports Network with your boy Matty B. It is Monday, August the 28th, 2023. It is 8 p.m.-ish. It's almost 8 p.m. And you're with me, or I should say you're watching EOP. That means you're with me on my new home. Monday nights, again, we talked about this a few weeks ago when I debuted on Monday. I kind of took a little bit of a hiatus after that, and now I'm back on Monday. I'm back, and Monday nights is where I'm going to be. So it is great to be with you here at the beginning of your Philadelphia sports weekend. I hope that I can provide adequate table setting duties as we start this last week of August, and we'll get into September by the time the week is over with. So that means it's right around the corner, man. The NFL football season is like what is it? 9 days away. To the Chiefs and the Lions will kick things off in Kansas City next Thursday night, and boy, things are buzzing around town when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. I've heard things all over the place. 17-0 is what I've heard on the radio. 15-2, 13-4. Apparently, the rest of the NFL is supposed to just lay down when the Eagles come to town or when they come to Philadelphia because they are the defending NFC champions. A lot of overhype, a lot of maybe not overhype, but a lot of overconfidence in the Philadelphia Eagles as we haven't even played a snap yet this season. And we're going to get into that a little bit tonight. Not too much because I got a special treat for everybody coming up next week where I will deep dive the Philadelphia Eagles and every other NFL team as we'll get ready to set the table officially for the 2023 NFL season. But tonight we're going to take a little bit of a splash in the shallow end, if you will, about your Eagles and our Eagles as we get ready for this season. And of course, the hottest topic in town, the hottest thing going is the Philadelphia Phillies. Red hot right now, coming off that sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals. And tonight they are, as we speak, playing the Los Angeles Angels as they continue to push towards another postseason bid. We're going to get into that in depth as well. Some familiar faces back in town tonight. No, not Mike Trout, but some similar faces that you might remember, and one face that we never will know what it was like to have him here. But we'll talk a little bit about that as well, and of course the rest of the Phillies playoff push as it stands here in late August. But before we get started on the show, as we do every single night, we're going to start things off with your night in Philadelphia sports history. What's up, Daniel? How you doing? And tonight, I took a lot of research on this one, man, because there wasn't really anything that, noteworthy that occurred anytime in the history of Philadelphia sports on August 28th, except for one thing. When I got to the very end of my research and I couldn't find it, I turned one last corner and I found it staring me in the face. Your moment tonight in Philadelphia sports history. And I thought it very applicable that this happened on this day back in this date. And so I could show you. So, but without further ado, I take you all the way back to the year 1988 for your day in Philadelphia sports history.
Well, we're back here at Veterans Stadium, and in between innings, Tommy, he's out there as the Philly Fanatic has a stuffed mannequin of a Dodger, and Tommy trying to get that Fanatic close. You see the physique of the of the mannequin. Tommy's a little bit hot, I think, because he's going to move that over. Now look at him go. Now he he says, "You don't make fun of me or my ball club." Oh, what a dilly. Look, they threw a ball at him. Oh, boy. Well, you got to try and do something when you're 24 games out of first place.
All right. So, yes, on this day back in 1988, the Philly Fanatic and Tommy Lasorda had their infamous showdown at Veterans Stadium. I was not at that game, but I do remember that when it happened. Tommy Lasorda, God rest his soul, by the way, rest in peace, their skipper. But He had a thing for mascots. I don't know what his deal was. You guys, I don't know if you remember the other incident that occurred with him and a mascot. It was the Yuppie, the Montreal Expo mascot. I guess it was around that same time in the mid '80s, late '80s, whatever. Yuppie was sleeping on top of the Dodger dugout. He was wearing his sleep stuff. It was like pajamas and stuff. And Tommy Lasorda got him thrown out of the game for sleeping on top of the Dodger dugout back there in Old Olympic Stadium in Montreal. So Tommy Lasorda, I guess, had his thing for mascots. And of course, the best mascot in the world is the Fanatic. And, he assaults the Fanatic, beats him up, takes his scooter. But taking a scooter was a common thing back in the day. Everybody took it, man. I've seen people drive off on it. But yeah, he beat him up. Of course, the Fanatic had the Tommy Lasorda doll. Just an awesome, fun, pure baseball thing back in Old Veterans Stadium. Boy, I miss watching baseball there. I really do. I miss watching football there. I miss the Vet in general. But that was your moment in Philadelphia sports history. Tommy Lasorda assaulting the Philly Fanatic on this day, August 28th, 1988. And that was brought to you by the good folks here at Talking Philly Sports with Matty B. I told you I do my research here. And as I said, as I was at the end of my rope and I didn't know what to do, I turned the corner and there it was. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. So on with the show, shall we? But yeah, that was fun. All right, so I guess with perfect setup, right? Let's get into the Phillies. As you guys know, I'm also part of the Fightin's Final, the Phillies post game show here on the Edge of Philly Sports, and it has its moments being part of that. You get to enjoy the moments like last season, the march to the playoffs, the march to the World Series, and really felt part of it. But it also has its other moments of the frustration, having to come on here on nights to report the futility of certain things that the Phillies have done all season long, the inconsistencies that this team has kind of struggled through all through 2023. But none of that to report tonight because over the last, let's call it the last 6 games, because over the last 6 games, not to include tonight, the Phillies are 5-1. And they're a blown bullpen save, or the bullpen kind of coughed up that third game against the Giants. 5-1 through that phase, or that stretch of time, and they're playing in that stretch like the team that we've wanted them to be all along. And there could be an argument made for, well, they're playing down to the level of their opponents, or there could be an argument being made that they're rounding into form as we get closer to the playoffs. Now, there's some things to kind of support both of those statements, but the one thing that I've looked at and the one thing that I've seen over the last 6 games specifically is the clutch hitting. And what I mean by that is the runners in scoring position has been a bugaboo stat that has plagued me all season long, or has plagued the Phillies all season long. It hasn't really plagued me, but talking about it has plagued me. The Phillies entering this game tonight were batting .268. With runners in scoring position, 2 points off that magical 270 plateau. And I've always maintained that if you're not batting .270 or above with runners in scoring position, then you're really just not a Major League Baseball team. And the Phillies have flirted on all levels of the 200s when it came to that stat. There was a point in time where they were batting .214, .208. They never got below 200. I wish Kyle Schwarber would take a page out of that book, but they never got below 200, but they weren't really doing well. But lately, they've been doing very well. They're up to 268, and tonight it's 3-3 right now, Phillies and Angels. Phillies have hit 2 more home runs, by the way. That makes the mark now to 51 on the month of August. 51 home runs in the month of August is just absolutely amazing. But they're getting contributions, not only from the long ball, but they're getting contributions from that runners in scoring position, contact hitting, small ball, ABC baseball, whatever you want to call it. And they're all phases of the game seem to be really clicking right now. We have 31 games left, to count this one. There are 12 and a half games out of first place, 7 games at hand with the Atlanta Braves coming up in September. To sit here and tell me that it's all but over in the National League East, that some of my colleagues here at EOP and that other people that I know have told me, is just ridiculous. Phillies have a shot at this. But in order to capture that, in order for them to be in a position here in about 2 weeks to even have any of those games, the Braves mean anything relevant towards the division, you got to keep being consistent, and you got to beat the teams that are in front of you. And we can't have any more of those losing 2 out of 3 to the Washington Nationals or splitting a series against, you know, the Kansas City Royals or any of that. We need to handle this business. The Phillies got 3 here with the Angels, who are a dog. I mean, the Angels are packing it in. They can't keep Mike Trout healthy. Otani's down for the season. He's not pitching anymore. They're not a good team. The Phillies should sweep them, or at the very least, but take 2 out of 3. And then coming into the first part of September, we're on the road in Milwaukee, which is going to be an interesting series against the team in the Milwaukee Brewers, who are currently in first place in the NL Central. And actually, there comes home run number 52. Nick Castellanos just homered. So now 4-3 Phillies, or is it 5-3? Yeah, 5-3 Phillies, 51 home runs so far in the month of August. Simply incredible. But they're going to have a series with the Brewers coming up here in the early part of September. Definitely a series that people need to pay attention to. This is going to be the first test in a little bit up against the team that's better than the Phillies standings wise, and this is going to have playoff implications, not necessarily in the standings, but in judging our ability to kind of hang with the current leaders in the National League. So, leading up to that series, the Phillies have an opportunity to get 3 more wins, gain more confidence, go into Milwaukee, and then fight their way through Milwaukee. They got a series after that with the Marlins, and then right after that with the Braves. Huge stretch of games coming up to start the month of September. Definitely, or no, they got the Padres in there. It's Brewers, Padres, Marlins, Braves. There you go. That's how it is. This could set up for an opportunity that the Phillies could have heading into the middle part of September, playing for a potential division with the Braves. They have 7 games in 2 weeks with the Braves into the middle part of September. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the division. Keep an eye on winning games that the Phillies need to win, and keep doing the things that they've been doing lately. And that is, all 3 phases of this game have worked perfectly. The starting pitching has been going deep into games. They've been getting 6 to 7 innings from their pitchers. They're getting the hits. They're getting the home runs in droves, and they're playing good defense. That's how you win baseball. And there's no reason why they can't continue that way. So as the Phillies continue to push through the playoffs, things are going to get a little bit harder. But then again, this is what we want, because some of those dog teams are going to go away. Am I worried about chasing the Braves, or is that icing on the cake? I am absolutely. Are we worried about chasing the Braves, or is that icing on the cake? I think we should be worried about chasing the Braves. EOP Sports, like I don't know who this is. I think we need to be worried about chasing the Braves. The division's there. Why settle for second place? I mean, we're not the Eagles, right? This is the Phillies. We're not going to settle for second place, right? We're going to push for the division. Division gets you a first round bye potentially. The Phillies would probably finish with the second best record in the NL if they were able to overtake the Braves. They would get a first round bye. They would be able to sit through the wild card round. Why not? It helps your pitching staff. It helps everything else about your baseball team. And why not strive to be the division winners? So don't settle for the wild card. Accept the wild card, but don't settle for it. And I've always maintained that. Even last year during the failed attempt to try to run the Mets down, I really thought the Phillies should be in that conversation for the NL East. And this year they have a chance. 12 and a half games back, 7 games at hand remaining against the Atlanta Braves. So it's very exciting time to be a Phillies fan. And tonight, even though Shohei Ohtani will not pitch this series and Mike Trout is out, it doesn't mean we still can't say hi to some former Philadelphia people. Currently in the lineup tonight, Mickey Moniak in center field and Logan O'Hoppe catching for the Los Angeles Angels tonight. Moniak, who of course was if anybody who's a Phillies fan tells you they were okay with trading, or they weren't okay with trading Moniak, they're lying. We were all okay with it. It just wasn't working out. But the one player that I still believe is going to come back and bite us in the butt is trading away Logan O'Hoppe. He's been out for the majority of the season dealing with the torn labrum. But he's back now. This is pretty much just going to be like his extended or early spring training for 2024. But this is a kid who I think really the Phillies should have held on to, because unlike the Phillies, who can only, Brandon Marsh is in the lineup tonight, but Syndergaard is not. I mean, Syndergaard played for the Dodgers. He got released, but um, I honestly think the Logan O'Hoppe thing is going to come back and bite us on the butt. He's a young catcher, and with our catcher having another career uh, disappointment in a year uh, in JT Realmuto, it's just it makes you kind of it really, as I said, I think it's going to I think it's really going to be an issue for this team. So yeah, Logan O'Hoppe in town tonight, looking at the glimpse of the future for the Angels and what could have been for the Philadelphia Phillies. Turner did not have 2 home runs tonight. The home runs were hit by Turner, Harper, and Castellanos. They're Edge of Philly Sports. You need to check your facts. Yeah, so, but your heart's in the right place. um, but yeah, so the Angels, Phillies, and they're doing battle right now. 5-3 Phillies as we move into the 5th inning. Don't forget tonight after the game, make sure you're tuned in to the Edge of Philly Sports for the Fighters final. It will not be me tonight. I think Al has it, and they'll take you in depth into into this game and into this series and a little further on. As again, the Phillies, just a wonderful time to be a Phillies fan as we get ready for that push. And isn't it like I started to show off by talking about the football season, but this time in general, this time in the time in the year, or the season. I mean, you got summer's kind of wrapping up. I mean, kind of losing that summer edge now. We're looking at football, we're looking at playoff baseball. Hell, I'm looking at hockey. Um, we're starting to kind of feel that that turn of the season, and it's a great time. And I mentioned this, I think, on one of my other shows. There's a chance here, very, very, in about a month and a half, about mid-October, where all 4 of our major sports teams are going to be probably playing at the same time. And that only happens for a very short period of time every year. And it only happens when the Phillies make the playoffs. And right now, um, we're into that part, and it's a wonderful time. Um, it I know it happens in the spring, so but no, it doesn't happen in spring because the Eagles aren't playing. But it only happens in that fall period, and really only if the Phillies make the playoffs. And when it does happen, like last year, it's just wonderful, man. It's captivating. It pulls you in, and and playoff baseball. There's nothing like it in the world. There's absolutely nothing like it in the world. Playoff autumn baseball. It just it's money. It's totally money. Um, and we're kind of streaming towards that period right now. And of course, with the Eagles looming, uh, Flyers looming, Sixers, I guess they're looming, and then the Phillies, of course, full steam ahead into the postseason. Hopefully, this is the start of something really great. Before I transition off the Phillies, I want to address one other topic, and that is a lightning rod topic for me when it comes to this team, and that's Kyle Schwarber. And on the Fightins final, I do a segment when I host on Sundays where I replay all the home runs of the Phillies previous week. And I believe Kyle Schwarber had 4 home runs, or maybe even 5 last week. And there's a lot of heat coming, not necessarily my way, but a lot of heat in general to people who don't feel that Kyle Schwarber deserves to be the leadoff hitter, or deserves to be even starting on this team, because of the fact that he hits home runs. And I maintain this: Kyle Schwarber is not a Major League Baseball player. No, he's not. He's a home run hitter. And unfortunately for Kyle Schwarber, he doesn't hit home runs every time he gets up at plate. And if that's the type of player you want to be, then you better goddamn hit home runs every time you step up at the plate. And when you're batting 187, or I think it's is it 189 now? Because he struck out 2 more times tonight, by the way. Not that I'm keeping track. Matter of fact, he's 0 for 3 tonight, and he struck out and it's 3 strikeouts. You don't hear it much, from the Kyle Schwarber apostles on a night like tonight. They keep their mouths shut. The man's batting 188, and he's 0 for 3 tonight. But let's praise him when he hits 1 home run. Let's praise him when he doesn't commit an error in left field. But we can't criticize him when he's batting 188. When I was growing up, there would be never would there be a Major League Baseball player that would be leading off who's batting 188. It just wouldn't be acceptable. But yet here we are every night rolling this guy out there as our leadoff hitter. I make this plea now to the Philadelphia Phillies and to the city of Philadelphia in general. Get him out of here. This offseason, there's going to be some decisions that got to be made. Aaron Nola, are we going to give him the big contract? Rhys Hoskins, are they going to re-sign him? I don't know if they can afford all that. But if we move Kyle Schwarber in some sort of trade, perhaps we can satisfy one of those needs via a trade. I don't want Kyle Schwarber here anymore. I don't. And honestly, there's nothing that's going to stop me. I've been watching this for 2 years now, and I've seen enough. I've seen enough of the striking out. I've seen enough of the not being money. I've seen enough of not being clutch to know that if Rob Thompson doesn't have the stones to move him down the lineup because it's going to upset him or make him feel uncomfortable. I mean, what is uncomfortable when you're batting 188? I don't get that. Is he comfortable with him batting 188? I mean, how much more uncomfortable can you be if you move down in the lineup? Is he going to bat like 100? I mean, is that where he would go if they moved him down the 5th or 6th in the batting order? The guy's batting 188. It's unacceptable on any level. He's a clown. He's a joke. He's a buffoon. Get him out of here. And I say that with all the respect in the world to Kyle Schwarber. I don't know the man personally. I'm sure he's a hell of a guy, but he's not a good baseball player. So, and I leave you with this. Game 5, NLCS, bottom of the ninth, against the Dodgers, bases loaded, 2 outs, and here comes Kyle Schwarber up the plate. Is there anybody out there who thinks he's going to do anything but strike out? Is there anybody out there that says money in the bank, grand slam, a single, a walk, something? Or is there pretty much money in the bank that, you know what, everyone's thinking he's going to strike out and that's the game? And I'm going to leave it at that. You don't have to answer. Keep it to yourselves. That's fine. But you know what I mean. He's not money and he's not clutch. But yet, we endure it every friggin' night. Every night he comes walking up to that plate with that smug look on his face. Then he strikes out. 3 times tonight, 188. I didn't bash on him this week because this weekend he had a productive weekend at the plate. He was very productive. But it's not consistent. It's inconsistent. And we got to try not to be inconsistent with this baseball team anymore. And Kyle Schwarber is the poster boy, in my opinion, for the Philadelphia Phillies inconsistencies. So heed my plea. The city of Philadelphia, Phillies Nation, and the Philadelphia Phillies. Get rid of Kyle Schwarber. Trade him, not for a bag of balls. Get some value for him. Maybe we get a first baseman. Maybe we can pick up a starter. But we got to do something. We can't continue into the future of next year with the situation. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Mentally, I cannot do it. So please listen to my plea and help Matty B out. Trade Kyle Schwarber. And then while you're at it, fire Howie Roseman. So help me out, Philadelphia, right? Make me smile. I would love that. We'll get into the fire Howie stuff here next week, but I'm going to leave fire Howie alone tonight. But Patrick Bernard. October is our Christmas month. Yes, it is, Pat. All 5 Philly sports teams running at the same time. I love it, Matty B. What's the 5th one? If you throw out the Union to me, again, no offense to the soccer people out there, man, but come on, man. It's not a major sport. Come on, Pat. Maybe 4.5. Can we go that? 4.5? Are you talking about is the 5th team the Union? Again, no offense. I'm not buying it, man. I'm not buying it. But I get your point, man. Again, no offense to the Union people. I never got soccer. I just never did. I never got into it. Trade JT Realmuto. Listen, I touched on it a little bit, Pat, and I didn't outwardly say the trade JT or that, but watching Logan O'Hoppe tonight, and again, this is not really the version of Logan O'Hoppe that you're going to see in the future because he's coming off of a massive injury that he sustained back in, I think it was the first week of the season or right at the end of spring training, a torn labrum, kept him on the shelf. This is his spring training right now. This is the beginning of his 2024 spring training. But I think that really trading that kid is going to really bite us in the ass because there's concern about JT. There's concern about his decline offensively. 2021, he had a good year. Um, no, I'm sorry, 2020, he had a good year, 56 games during the COVID year. 2021, not a good year. Half of last year, he was nothing. He kind of turned it on in the second half of last season, and then that's been it. I mean, he's been up and down, mostly down this year, and there's real concern there. I think there's real concern in going into the future of what JT Realmuto is going to be. Not defensively, he's still defensively one of the if not the best catchers in the game, but offensively, there's some real concern here. How do you address that? There's nothing much really in the system when it comes to catchers right now. Marchant, the kid that was down there in AAA, he's been battling injuries all season. He's been, kind of flirting with the major leagues over the last 2 or 3 years. I don't know if he's your answer. Garrett Stubbs is not your answer as a starter. Um, Definitely some issues there, and something to keep an eye on. And hopefully JT works it out. I mean, he's a professional baseball player. He's a professional hitter, and perhaps he does break out of it now when we need him the most. But obviously, no signs right now are pointing in that direction. And it's as I said, it's just kind of, I'm watching it right now, and I'm looking at Ohapi right now with his silver catcher's mask on, and it breaks my heart, man, because he should be doing that for the Phillies. And I just there's concern though, Pat. I agree. I think you're laughing about the union comment. Again, I no offense to the union people out there. Soccer's a real sport. I just never got into it. Um, where do they play? They play in Delco, Delaware, New Jersey. I mean, Baltimore. Where do they play? Anybody help me out? I know it's called Subaru Stadium, and their mascot's a dragon, or is he a snake? What is it? Yeah, I've seen the logo. I have a jersey. I don't wear it. Somebody school me up. Is it called? It's Subaru Stadium. Is it in Delco, Westchester? Is it in the Poconos? Well, where is it? Where is the stadium located at? Maybe I should go and check out a game. I don't know, man. I'd probably fall asleep, man. That's kind of boring. But again, no offense to the union people out there, none at all. But okay, all right. So turning the page. Before I do, let me get over here and let's pay some bills. Um, Remember Philly Sports Trips and everything that they have to offer. And this thing specifically, this is going to be one of their many Eagle road trips this fall. This is a big one though. This is a Monday night game in Tampa, Florida, on the 25th. Is the game. The trip will be from the 22nd to the 26th. Airfare, hotel, party, tickets to the game, a whole smear, and then of course you add in Hollis Thomas, Vince Papali, and David Akers, who will be on the trip. So if you want to travel like the pros, you need to go check out Philly Sports Trip. Not only for the Eagles, they already got you set up for the Phillies next year. I'm sure some Flyers trips are going to drop here. Matter of fact, they got a Phillies trip starting I think next week. The one out in San Diego, they're going to be going to. So make sure you're checking out phillysportstrips.com. Everything they have to offer. And again, as I mentioned, there's all the Eagle road trips this year that Philly Sports Trips will be participating in. So head over to phillysportstrips.com and check out all they have to offer. And then for workman's compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, or criminal law, Dave Cherry at 610-565-0300 is the man you need to call for all those issues. Tell them that EOP, Matty B, the Philadelphia Union. No, I'm just kidding. Matty B and Talk to Philly Sports. Matty B sent you, and he'll take great care of you. Um, and if you're looking for those union tickets, and this is no joke, and any other tickets to sporting events, concerts, or theater, you need to check out sherrystickets.com or Sherry's Ticket Town at www.sherrystickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Save an additional 10% when you enter the promo code EOP10. And I defy you to find a better ticket deal anywhere out there than you could at Sherry's Ticket Town. I don't think it's possible. And then after your long day has ended, and you're there lamenting about the status of Kyle Schwarber as a leadoff hitter, or Howie Roseman as the GM of the Philadelphia Eagles, take a break from your depression. Head on down to Dolan's at 24 East Sellers Ave in Ridley Park for Quizzo, music, great times, and memorabilia. You never know who's going to walk through the front door. Tell PJ that I said, hey. Really, tell him that. I don't know what he's going to do, but just tell him Matty B said, hey. Matty B from EOP said, hey. Um, and then let me know what he says because I'd be very interested. All right. Final topic of the night is, of course, your Philadelphia Eagles. Our Philadelphia Eagles. Because, yes, I am an Eagle fan. I know it doesn't seem like it these days, but I am an Eagle fan true and true to the end. Because I've been through the fire, man. I've been through those days. I've lived through the pain of being an Eagle fan when it wasn't cool to be an Eagle fan those days. So with the 2023 season quickly bearing down upon us, it's time. It's time for me to dust it all off and let's get back into this. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, tonight I'm not going to jump into the deep end. I'm going to wade into the shallow end and kind of give you an overview because next week, folks, starting next week, I got something to throw out at you. So starting next week, I'm going to have a guest. And this is a man who's been on this, who was part of this network for a while. He is the former host and co-creator of the Birds IQ podcast. He was also was kind of a fill-in producer over there at WIP, but now he's the permanent midday show producer over at 94 WIP. Mr. Kyle Quinn is going to join me on the program next week. And me and Kyle, so I have another podcast. I do another show independently from this one. It's titled the same thing, but it was independent. And for the last 3 years, Kyle has come on my podcast, and we've broken down the NFL, and we've broken down the Eagles at the beginning of every season. Well, this year we're going to do it here on EOP, and we're going to bring it here, and we're going to break down every division in both conferences. We're going to talk about who we think is going to win the division, who's going to come in last, who's going to be the playoff teams per conference, who is your championship game matchups, and then, of course, your Super Bowl matchups and your Super Bowl champion. We're also going to break down the Eagles. We're going to talk game by game, and we're going to go over what we think the Eagles' record will be in 2023. And you will finally know what my prediction is or what I think the Eagles are going to be in 2023. And then at the end of all that, we're going to break down Eagles-Patriots. So a full night of Eagles with Kyle Quinn starting next week on the program. Looking forward to it. As I said, we've done this for 3 years now. This will be our third year doing this. First year on EOP. So Kyle's agreed to come on and do this with me. And then after that, starting on week 2 and going to the end of the season, Kyle Quinn will be joining me every show, and we will do a breakdown of the game that just was, and we will do a quick preview of the game coming up. We're going to call it the Birds Breakdown with Kyle Quinn. So Kyle's going to come on and do a segment with me weekly throughout the football season, and we'll talk the Eagles past, and we'll talk the Eagles in the future. So that'll be the fourth year that Kyle has done that with me. He used to do a pregame with me on my other show as well, and this will be the fourth year that we've done this, and super excited about bringing Kyle back to EOP, and bringing that show back here too. So really looking forward to it. That's going to start next week. Remember, Kyle will be my guest next week, and we will do a deep. I mean, like if we come up too fast, get the Benz kind of deep dive on the Eagles and the NFL, as we'll set the table for the 2023 season, and I'm looking forward to it. Kyle's a good friend. I miss Kyle. I miss hearing his voice every week on the OP. So I'm going to bring him back, and he's going to be part of the show for the rest of this football season. So here's looking at that. But to kind of give you my overview, make no bones about it. You all know how I feel about the Eagles and how I feel about the current management team. All right. And I won't sit here and deny any of it. It's all true. And I also won't sit here and defend my fandom either, because who the hell are you to question my fandom? But the thing is this. We're moving into a season where it's Super Bowl or like jump off the bridge is what I'm getting. That's not Super Bowl appearance, but winning the Super Bowl, or we're going to commit mass, as a city or a fan base if this doesn't happen. And as I said, I've heard speculations that range from the outrageous to the ridiculous. 17-0. Some guy called into a radio show a couple days ago that I heard 17-0. So we're gonna tie the 72 Dolphins this year with a perfect season. It's not gonna happen. I've heard 13-4. I've heard 14-3, 15-2. Nothing really lower than that. That's kind of what the gauge is 13 wins or more. And again, next week I'll reveal what I think the Eagles are going to do this season. I think you might be shocked about my prediction on the Eagles game by game. But a couple things that I want to point out about last season, and I know, especially in the NFL, season by season doesn't matter. It's a whole new book, and I know that there's reasons for everything. But last year, a stat that boggled my mind. In the second half of games last year, the Eagles averaged 10.5 points a game. I don't know if you guys were aware of that or if anybody remembers that. And of course, the common answer to that question is, well, why was that? And the common answer is, well, because they were so far ahead, they were in prevent defense and blah, 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 vanilla baseline packages and all that. And that's why they, were not giving up. They were primarily, not scoring points. But that really, to me, has nothing to do with anything. 10.5 points in the second half in 2022. And again, I get it. A new season, new cast of characters, new coordinators. And I'm not saying that's going to happen this year, but the level of competition that the Eagles are going to face in 2023 is a lot better than the level of competition that they face in 2022. And another hardcore fact about last season that nobody seems to want to wrap their head around. Eagles played one good team all year, and they lost to them. And that was the Kansas City Chiefs. That was the only really good team they played, and they lost. So there's going to be there's a few more than good teams mixed in 2023, to include the Chiefs. So to say that the rest of the NFL is going to lay down for the Eagles and that they're just going to give them the key to Super Bowl 58 and say, there you go enjoy yourselves. Shut the lights off when you're done. It's just unheard of. We have a whole bunch of unknowns circulating around this team, from the coordinators down to the defense. Offensively, I'm going to give it to you. Might be the best offense in the NFL. It might be, if they can stay healthy. We haven't talked about that either. This team was relatively healthy in 2022. Are they going to maintain that in 2023? Well, right now we got some issues we're dealing with when it comes to injury. You got Hassan Reddick dealing with a surgically repaired thumb. You got Nolan Smith who has missed 5 straight practices now due to an injury, or is it something more? So injuries are going to probably come into play this season. A whole bunch of things that maybe the Eagles didn't deal with in terms of adversity last year, they may have to deal with this year. So to say that they're going to go 15-2, though it might be a great filler for sports talk radio, just doesn't to me make no sense. And with the massive unknowns on the defensive side of the football, from the man in the middle, Nakobe Dean, who's going to be the captain, the signal caller, the green dot, so to speak, of the defense. I mean, I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned about Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox. Both of them on the decline. Both of them back for another year. Fletcher Cox has been declining over the last 2 or 3 seasons, and now he's coming back for another year. Really didn't call his number much last year either. How's that going to play out? The secondary. Now, when it comes to Bradbury and it comes to Slay, I'll give you them two. I'll give you them two in the corners. It's a pretty potent group. But when I talk about the next group of secondary players, our safeties, Terrell Edmonds, Kayvon Wallace, Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, and Justin Evans. Now, am I the only one that doesn't do those names jump out at anybody by all pros or pro bowlers? And we're going all the way. I mean, is there some concern with that group of safeties and the unknown that they will bring to the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles? And again, it's unknown. It could work out either way. So we're not talking enough about some of the pitfalls that this team might be facing in 2023. We're going to just fast forward. It's like we're just going to, the regular season is just a formality, and let's get back to the playoffs. Or not even that. Let's get right back to the Super Bowl. It's not going to work like that. It didn't work like that at the end of the season, and it didn't work like that in '81 when they were coming off Super Bowl 15 loss. It didn't work like that in '05 coming off the Super Bowl 39 loss, and it didn't work that way in 2018 coming off the Super Bowl 52 win. So it's probably not going to work out that way coming off Super Bowl 57. What are the odds that a team returns? Typically, the loser of the Super Bowl doesn't even make the playoffs the following year. Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to make the playoffs. And Edge of Philly Sports says they're 12-5. That's you know what that's more realistic. That's more realistic than 15-2. And again, next week you'll stay, and then they caveat with if they stay healthy. So if they stay healthy, and you're telling me that's all that has to happen, so you don't need to see the performances from your Georgia Bulldog defense. You don't need to see the Carters, the Davises, and the Kobe Deanses, the Nolan Smiths of the world step up, the Ringos of the world. I mean, these guys got to perform too. Staying healthy is one thing, but they also got to perform. There's a lot of unknowns, a lot of unknowns, a lot of unknowns. Sat all the starters last preseason. They barely beat the Lions 38-5 last year's opener. I say 12-5. Walter going with the 12-5. Listen, again, that is a more realistic number, Walter. I get it, but you're basing that off of what? You're basing that off of the 2022 Philadelphia Eagles, who had a very veteran-laden defense. And then, of course, what happened with the offense happened with the offense. Now, is Jalen Hurts going to continue his dominance? I say he will. I don't think the NFL has found an answer for him, and I also don't think the NFL has found an answer for Smith or A.J. Brown either. I think the offense is not going to miss a beat. It's going to be the same product as it was last year, and that's a good thing. I think DeAndre Swift is a comparison to Miles Sanders. I don't necessarily think he's an upgrade, but he's not a downgrade either. He's kind of a comparison to me. It's the offense should be fine. That offensive line is the best in the game, and they should be fine. But what's the defense going to look like? All that veteran-laden talent, is gone. Javon Hargrave is gone. Gardner Johnson is gone. T.J. Edwards is gone. They lost a lot of players on that defense. What was the 13 free agents that we had last year? I think, what was it, 11 of them or 9 of them or 8 of them were off the defense? And most of them left with the exception of Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox. And now you got Derek Barnett requesting or wanting to be traded. Somebody make his wish come true. I mean, why the hell are we? Why is that even a story? Who cares? Derek Barnett is nothing. He's a failed Howie Roseman draft pick. All right, get rid of him. I'll take a bag of balls for him. All right, get him out of here. But again, that could be an issue. Where's the depth there? He's very what is it? It's always him, right? That's the Derek Barnett we're talking about. Now on the depth chart, he's behind Josh Sweat, and then you got Matt Leo who's out. So there's some maybe depth problems there. I just don't buy into all this overconfidence about this team. There's potential there, but nothing is set in stone. Not when we're 2 weeks away from week 1, not 2 weeks away from the playoffs, 2 weeks away from week 1. And the journey is going to be harder. And don't forget, they're the hunted now. They're not the hunters anymore. People are going to try to take what they get or they got. People are going to raise their game up now when they see them on their schedule. And there's something to that too. Is Nick Sirianni open to that task? Is Nick Sirianni and his group of new coordinators ready for that? I don't know. And time will tell. No one does. We got to let these games play out. But let's pump the brakes, Philadelphia. 15-2. No. 17-0. No. 12-5. Yeah. I can believe that. I don't think it's going to be like 8-9 or 7-10. I don't think they're that bad. I still think they're a very good team, even with all their questions and uncertainties, in a very weak NFC. I've never seen the NFC so weak in my entire existence than has been over the last couple seasons. The NFC is a bunch of dogs. So the Eagles got that going for them. that they're in a very weak conference. But when you look at the top teams of this league, when you're looking at the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, when you look at the Buffalo Bills, where do the Eagles fit into that puzzle? Are they behind the Chiefs, ahead of the Bills, and ahead of the Bengals? I don't know. I would love to see the Bills and Bengals play the Eagles. I would love to see that. We're not going to get that this year, unless, of course, it's in the Super Bowl. But I would love to see that. Do they fit in there? Are they the fourth best team in the NFL? Are they the best team in the NFC? You know what? The top two. You know, I think them and the 49ers are the class of the NFC. And then the 49ers business. Do I got to hear that anymore? It's ridiculous. Who gives a damn about the 49ers? Who cares? Who cares? It's not even a real team and a real fan base. Who cares if they don't like us? I mean, what have we turned into here? Let's all that venom needs to go where it needs to be, and that's the Dallas freaking Cowboys. All right, get the venom there. All right, get it. Who cares what the 49ers say about us? I don't really care. It's crap. It's crap. Crap. So I don't know. Walter, oh, that's right, Walter. They are playing the AFC East, so we will see the Bills this year. I thought for some reason they were playing the AFC West. I forget. Sorry, we're not going to play. Wait. Oh yeah, we're playing the Chiefs because of the 17th game. I see. I got confused. My bad, Walter. So Walter's right. The Eagles or the NFC East is playing the AFC East, and then they're playing the AFC West because it's the direct opposite of that. Right? You got it, Walter. I got confused. So forgive me. But yes, so the Eagles will see the Bills. So we're going to get a chance to see. We're going to get a chance to see that. That's a good point. Are they better than the Bills? We'll see. But as we get ready for the season altogether, take it day by day, game by game. You know what? I still kick myself for last season. I cost myself a whole year of not enjoying a great run from a really good football team because I was caught up in Howie Roseman hate and venom and bitterness. I'm not going to be that way this year. Maybe. I'm not. I'm going to enjoy the ride. But I'm not going to stop looking at things from a non-green sunglasses point of view. I still don't think Nick Sirianni is the right man for this job. And I sure as hell don't think Howie Roseman is the right man. But I'm not going to let that cloud my enjoyment of the season. Because after all, I am an Eagle fan. And after all, I want to see them win. But I'm not sold. I'm not sold on. And I'm probably a little less sold on them this year than I was last year because of all the uncertainty on defense. But I'm never going to root against them. Ever. And I sure as hell would never root against them in a Super Bowl or an AFC or an NFC championship game. And I want to see them win. But I don't think we got the right recipe or the right combination. I don't. Time will tell. And don't forget, next week, here on this very program, and every Monday going forward into the season, my main man, Kyle Quinn, will be joining me as we will break down the game that was in the Eagles week and then the game that will be coming up. So, again, being in that leadoff spot is pretty unique. I get the opportunity to get a first crack at the game, and I guess first crack at the next game too. But it's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it. Again, it's going to be great to welcome back Kyle back to the fold, back to my program where he belongs. Yeah, so I can school that young man. But yeah. So, folks, listen, that is going to wrap me up tonight. I wanted to come on, and it's great to be back on Mondays. It's a pleasure to start kind of the week off. I enjoy that. It's an honor to be part of that, to be in the leadoff slot. And I promise you, I will bat higher than 188. But it's going to be a fun ride. We're entering a time of the season or the time of the sports calendar that's just absolutely amazing. And that's why you're a sports fan. And that's why you're a sports fan of the greatest city in America, in Philadelphia. So until we talk again next week, and I hope you guys have a great Philadelphia sports week, and I'll see you next week. And what do they say? That's the news, and I'm out of here.